is Sean Woods, your City of Coaches podcast. Welcome to another special episode. I'm kind of geeked about this conversation. I'm out here in Queens Creek, Arizona. As you know, I'm all the way everywhere, all part of Arizona, because a lot of high schools. And I got another extraordinary coach, over here at American Leadership Academy. Coach McCURDY, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I really appreciate the opportunity for you to sit here and converse with me. But first, I got to clap my hands for you.
Oh, thank you.
I clap my hands for Coach because his Patriots just won the 3A state championship, part of the AIA. I know I've been interviewing different conferences, so like that. But Coach is part of the AIA, and we'll speak longer about his journey into this program. Speaking of that, like I said, man, congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we're here. The season's over. Get the people. How do you feel about this past season overall?
Yeah, man, it was a big time year for us. Obviously, winning the state championship was the icing on the cake, but we had 10 seniors on the team. So, yeah, these were kids that had been in the program for 3-4 years. So, this was the year to do it, graduating all those kids. So, something we've talked about the last couple of years, and to go from the start of the season where we're at to the end to make a run, man, it was special and something that this group. It's a bond that will never be broken, that we can always remember. So very special for sure.
So you're graduating 10
seniors. Yeah.
I remember one of your players just got recruited.
Yeah, I got two kids right now that are getting some college attention. Both of them good stature kids. One of them's a post player, 6'8", and the other one's a guard at 6'6". So they're getting a lot of college attention.
That's beautiful,
yeah,
and it's probably why the fact because you just went on a 19 winning streak.
Yeah.
Okay, 19 games, the high school level winning streak. Coach, beginning of the season, you had a situation. You guys turned it around, man. Like, we think it's coming. So young coaches need to hear what you got to say about this part.
Yeah.
How do you think you guys turned the season around, honestly?
Yeah, so I'll start. We started the year playing in a big school tournament over at Mesa High. Shout out to Coach Stansberry, he's a friend of mine. He hosts that tournament. So we played some of the best teams in the state. Took some early losses. At that time too, we were missing some key players that are football players. Our football team won the state championship this year too.
Oh, what?
So yeah, football and basketball won it all. Yeah, we got something special here at ALA Queen Creek. But we had a couple of those football kids that weren't with us because they were just finishing up their state championship run, and so one of them was a starter for us, a defensive kid, and then we had two kids that come off the bench that gave us good minutes. So we didn't have those three, and we played some of the better schools, and we took some losses, and we started 1-5 to begin the first 3-4 weeks of our season, and then honestly, we had to have some real conversations throughout the season, and about mid-December was when we kind of, as a coaching staff, we made some changes and realized, we're trying to be someone we're not, and we need to focus on what our strengths are, what we're good at, and we have a kid that's inside that is a matchup nightmare at the 3A level. 6'8", 230 pounds, a big load. He's block-to-block kind of kid, and then we had another guard out in the perimeter that's 6'6", that can shoot the lights out, that can drive and create for others, and so we talked about we need to be a team that plays in the half court because we got our big who's working the block, and a lot of times he was, cleaning up the rebound where he's our trailer, and if we're trying to play fast, he's out of the picture.
Right.
And so getting him down on the block where he can create some attention from double teams, whatever it may be, or to have some isolation for himself, we played through him. We played, we're a balanced inside-outside game with our guards, our shooting ability, and then our post play. And so we had some honest talks about mid-December about what we need to be and where we need to be in order to make a run. And the kids bought in, and before we knew it, we were playing on the last day of February and got it done.
Speaking of that, a lot of people know I did spend a year down in Tucson at school. And you guys played against the kids would love the fact that y'all beat them. Sabino High School.
Yeah.
That was considered our rival at the school I was at. So I'm pretty sure they were happy you guys. But you guys have played against them before closely around the regional tournament time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You and that coach has had back and forth
Yeah.
going at it. So, being a coach who has, like you said, you got started in the CAA,
Yep.
and right, and
Yep.
you got this program, and you guys are full steam ahead, to the point where you guys are getting into AIA, and you guys are getting to the tournament every year, and you guys are being around the championship, and you have the championship this year. That a lot of coaches, like you said, you guys started out, 1-5, like you said, but that was tournament, and those some really big schools, some 6A, 5A schools, and if you didn't have your certain players like that, so that was, it makes kind of sense that you would get into your conference play and take over, right? That's some of the things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's, everyone looking outside, looking in, they're questioning, are we really going to be that good? Because we had a good summer, and starting 1-5 is not what we expected, is not what we wanted. Of course, we went in that tournament thinking we could win games. It just didn't work out that way. But the best thing is that we got from it is we learned a lot about ourselves. We were battle tested for sure. We competed at a high level. But once we got into 3A schedule, things started clicking. The kids started buying into what we were trying to do. And, you got to give it up to the kids. When you got 10 seniors, that's a group that's connected and a group that's been around us as a coaching staff and been around each other for some years now. And we figured it out and we stayed the course. And, man, it was special for sure. And something I want to point out about the Sabino win was they actually knocked us out a couple of years ago in the second round when we were the higher seed.
Like that,
This was 3 years ago when we were like a 4 seed. They were a 13 seed or something. They knocked us out of the tournament. We thought obviously that was a game we should have won, and so it was kind of full circle to meet them in the state championship and eventually get it done. But the Sabino's always been a good team since I've been here and from day one. But yeah, it's been a process, and every coach knows you get a little lucky sometimes. You get certain players that come in that make you look better than you really are, and so it's a little bit of luck, but it's also a commitment from coaches and from players too.
I'm pretty sure you got this thing handled, Coach. Like you said, you was able to, whatever you had to do, you guys turned it around 100%. Like I said, I can't speak on it too much about congrats on the state championship because honestly, this is not like something that's given. Like you guys get handpicked to be in the tournament, right? It's not like everyone free fall, everyone gets in and it becomes a dream. You get in there and everyone's fighting and it's so quick, right? I feel like the state tournament is like literally maybe 2 weeks, if that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, let's speak at least on that.
Yeah.
So you graduated 10 seniors. Emotionally, how was that for you as a coach? Because a lot of people don't understand what that feels like.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of emotions after that game, that state championship game, just because these kids have been, this has, been the group the last couple of years, and something that we've all talked about, being able to compete for a state championship, and you just don't know until you get in that moment, and when you're in that moment, it's so surreal, and to realize after it's all said and done, like, man, these 10 seniors went out as state champions. There's not a whole lot of, it's a small percentage of kids, of coaches that can say that, and to send them off on their way, because now they're on to the next chapter of their lives doing whatever it is they do. That's something that they can always refer back to down the road is you remember that run that we made. You remember that game you remember the banner we got to hang up in the gym. You remember those state championship rings we got. That's just something, a bond that will ever be held with this group. And for me, man, it was just fulfilling to send those seniors out as on top as champs. So.
See, but you kind of know what that feels like to be a player. Obviously, you have your history of being a player. Can't just highlight you just being a coach.
Yeah.
Got to speak that you went to school here in the Phoenix area, right?
Yeah.
Highland, is that
Highland,
correct?
yeah.
Highland High School.
Yeah.
And what are some of some of the players you came across and some of your experience at your high school career, Greg?
Yeah, so I'm Arizona born and raised, and
Yes,
that's
you
why
are.
I'm passionate. Yeah, I'm passionate about what I do here in Arizona and basketball here in Arizona. I grew up in the Tempe area and then moved out more east and went to Highland and got the opportunity to play on some really good teams at Highland. We actually lost in the state championship game, so for me, that was something else about winning the state championship is I never had that moment. I was on the other side of it.
Right.
And to do it as a coach is even more fulfilling. But so we had some good teams at Highland, no doubt. And I was fortunate enough once I left there to go play basketball at NAU, Northern Arizona. So I stayed in Arizona and played on some really good teams there. played for 3 Big Sky championships, and actually lost all 3 of those. And those are the games that you get into the big dance. So I was always right there and just
around
never.
winning though.
Yeah, around winning.
Around winning, obviously, and it's translating on to now.
Yeah.
You know, so like you just went into your situation. I think Mesa's the head coaches and that head coach were there. Me and Coach Stansbury talked about it as well. So good luck with him over there at NAU. So transition time, right?
Yeah.
Player to coach. So where did you start coaching at? Did you start coaching here?
My first stop. The transition, man, that's hard from any player. When you realize, the real playing days are done. That's a tough moment for every man or every woman to have that. But I knew it was, playing days were done for me, and the next best thing for me was to get into coaching because I'm so passionate about the game. I love the game so much, and I know what it's done for me. And so I came back. I actually had a short stint, played overseas for a little bit. Realized, don't want to do this anymore. I want to come home. I got married, furthered my education, got my master's, and at that time I was working on night classes. I was subbing around different districts in the state and got a gig as a freshman assistant over at Queen Creek High School, which is a big public school out here.
Right, yes it is.
And, at the time, that's when kind of the charter schools were booming and a lot of them were popping up. And so after that little year of being an assistant on the freshman level, I came over here to ALA and became, I got a teaching job here and became a JV coach when we were in the CAA. And then eventually took over the program as a varsity coach, and we made that transition to the AIA. And so I've been here officially for this, just finished my 7th year. So really 8 years of coaching, 6 years of having my own program.
Well, I mean, you basically the kids grow with you, right?
Yeah.
That is the most exciting point when you get somewhere you're a coach and you have administration that supports you to the point that you actually grow into be in the position where you're at, and God knows what's going to happen in the future, because I know you're going to have some more pit bulls. You're going to do what you need to do. I know you got some of the football players out there wants to come out or probably part of your program still, associates like that. That's very exciting, Coach, 100%, because you get people like me who just bounced around. So it's good to hear someone like, you know what? I love this situation. I help be part of the program. I help grow this situation. It's a beautiful facility. I didn't know what I was going to walk into, Coach, honestly.
Yeah, this is not even a year old, this facility. We were in some small gym in the back. And this got built for us, and so we spent this was our first season here. This opened up back last May, so it's not even a year old, so it's brand new, and definitely spoiled with the facilities that we have
you
here.
got the Tron up there. They might get back at NAU or something like that.
Seriously.
So what are some of the curriculums that American Leadership Academy provides? Because obviously you guys are growing. Right? So
ALA just I think the biggest thing about ALA is that gets kids interested is the culture, the student, what the students bring, the culture here. That's something that's tossed around a lot, and so we get kids. Here from day one because we're a junior high and high school campus combined. So we got kids that work their way through the junior high program and then eventually get into high school. But we also have kids that are from other public schools that just need a change or maybe are lost in the shuffle. It's a big pond out there. And so they come over here and there's some noise about our athletics, and anything, a lot of things that we do, performing arts and our academics. We have high academics here, and so the kids, they want to see what it's about. And it seems like when they get a foot in the door, they're already kind of sucked in at that point. They're bought into what ALA has to offer, and that's something that I was bought in. I love what ALA represents and what it's about, not just from the athletic side of things or basketball, but more the academics. I always tell kids, man, we're a small school, but we got big school opportunities. So
that's where it's at.
And I think that alone speaks for itself. Where kids, let me sign up for this. I want to be a part of this culture here at ALA, and we've been fortunate enough to continue to grow year by year.
That's exciting. Because honestly, I'm like, Yeah, I'm learning, right? You
yeah.
know, so I'm learning all the schools. I'm learning about the different charters. I think by the time I was in the high school level in Ohio, charters wasn't popular. Then when I became a college coach, I was disconnected,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
So I'm learning about this charter world. So you're educating me right here live on film as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
because I'm learning so much. Like you said, some of the prior situations. I'm getting that kids sometimes need that focus.
Yeah.
They need that focus in some smaller places,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to Arizona. I
Yeah.
mean, these schools, what, they got 3,000 kids in
Yeah.
one school and
Yeah,
such things
yeah,
like that. It's,
Yeah.
Shout out to the teachers.
Yeah.
Coach is a teacher as well. You teach PE here, right?
Yeah, I do.
So how do you balance being a PE teacher and being a basketball coach? And I'm just talking about the kids. I'm
Yeah.
talking about just you in your head. Like, do you see yourself crossing some of your references? I can see
Yeah.
myself doing it if I was. So
Yeah.
I'm asking you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I do a good job of balancing. I keep basketball aside of things. With PE, for these kids, is more about, because I teach junior high, so you gotta be patient with junior high group of kids. You know, that's 12, 13-year-olds. That's more about them getting all that energy out and just in a more structured environment and just teaching them a little bit about, you know, what exercise can do for you. Introducing, a lot of these kids, you know, it's introducing sports. You know, maybe they grew up in a family where sports wasn't so heavily influenced upon them, and so it's just, you can give them, that's what I like about it, is if I can just interest one kid in one thing, and then maybe in junior high or high school he goes out for that sport, or she goes out for that sport, then, you know, I feel like I've done my job where you just pique some interest in these kids. So basketball, you know, I keep basketball aside because I'm kind of obsessed with it, and I don't want to put that on those kids. You know, they're young kids. They're here just to have a good time and get some energy out. So I've learned to find a good balance there.
So you find your balance and you're rounded. And I forgot to ask a question. You guys are moving up from 3A to 4A, right? Particularly because the population of the schools are getting bigger, right? And then you're getting more student body and such things like that. Like, are you excited about going to a 4A?
Yeah, very excited. I love a new challenge.
Right.
You know, I think as coaches, that's what you want. You want something to challenge you, because if you're constantly doing the same thing, you know, you want to be challenged, you want something new. And so 4A is going to be good for us. One, because the travel's not going to be as crazy. You know, in 3A, you're traveling, you know, we had to travel all the way up to Ganado, Arizona, which is like borderline to Mexico. It's a 6-hour drive. So, you know, we've had those travels, 3 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, where 4A, the worst is Tucson and the Phoenix area. That's about it. So that part of it is going to be nice. But also, there's some big-time basketball in 4A, and I just want to be around any kind of good basketball, good coaching. You know, people need to understand, we got some really good basketball players in Arizona. I think Arizona slept on, especially at the college level. I think, you know, we tend to go the Cali way, the Texas way, but there's a lot of kids here that can play, not just in my program, but in all programs spread out through the valley. So, you know, it's only going to help our school playing in 4A to get out there amongst some of these, you know, bigger schools, inner city schools, you know, schools that are in the rural area. So it's going to be a great challenge, and I think it's something that we're all looking forward to for athletics. It's a change of environment. It's a new thing to go into some of these new gyms I haven't been in. You get a little sick of going to the same, you know, the Coolidge and the Florence gyms every year. So that's something I'm looking forward to, is traveling and seeing what style of basketball that we're going to be up against the next 2-year block. So I think we'll be fine. You know, losing 10 seniors, some would say it's a rebuilding process, but for me, we got a lot of JV kids this past year, sophomores and juniors, that you know, had a really good year, and it's the next man up, and that's what summer ball is about, is getting them ready and getting them experience. And at the end of the day, I know these kids are going to compete at a high level. It's a matter of getting some chemistry down over these next 2 years. So, yeah.
That's very important, you know, because, like, especially for you to have that attitude. You could be, I don't know, I'm so comfortable where we're at. You thrive. Like you say, you challenge yourself. You're already booking yourself for 6A teams early in tournaments. So you're already there, right? So, you know, it's going to be right into it. Speaking of playing style, what's some of your styles that your players are used to in your system? What is your system?
Yeah, so system, I'm defensive minded first. That's what I prided myself in as a player. And so that's something that we work on day one is defense. I know for a fact if your team is playing team defense, you're going to be in every game, especially the games where you're not shooting the ball well. You're going to be in it. So we're pretty much man-to-man. We pick up. We're not so, in previous years we've pressed some. I'm someone, I kind of have to adjust to my personnel, what I have. I'm a realist in that sense. I'm not going to try to press if I don't have those dudes that can get out and press.
Right.
So we play to our strengths. And so the past 2-3 years, we've been a team that picks up in the half court, really has help side defense, works on guarding certain screens, whether it's ball screens, back screens, down screens. We really focus on that stuff, being in help side, rotating over. And then offensively, I've been blessed the last, I don't even know how many years it is, but I've had 2 bigs that have been all conference bigs. And my big this year was voted 3A Player of the Year. And so, yeah, I've been blessed to have 2 bigs. One of the bigs was my younger brother some years ago. He was a 20 and 12 kid, and then the kid that I coached these last 3 years averaged 17 and 11 this year. So we've always had that kid down there on the blocks that can go get us a bucket or go get fouled. And so offensively, we give a lot of freedom to our kids. We play a lot of motion. We give a lot of freedom.
Longer moving.
Yeah, it's moving the ball. The ball's moving. You're moving. We're screening. We're getting post touches. And we had, like this year, our strength was shooting the 3 ball. We had kids that could knock down shots. So we had a balance of shooting the 3 and a balance of get the ball to our big and let him go to work. So, but to sum it up, defense wins championships, and
it's won a championship.
Yeah, it's won a championship. Yeah,
Look at you. You don't have to preach it. It's there.
It's there. It's proof. I mean, all those games in the state tournament, we held teams in 40 points or under. So we got it done defensively. So that's what we are. But I'm always learning. I'm always going to clinics. I'm talking to other coaches. I'm always trying to, to be a sponge and
always
take things
learning.
in, and
I
want to learn. Yeah, that's something important that I would make sure that every coach understands is don't feel like you have it all figured out.
Who are some of your coaches? Because we all we always get our plays from coaches.
Yeah.
We get our systems like that. Who are some of the coaches, whether you know them or don't know them, that you admire a little bit?
Yeah, so college level, I'm a big Bobby Huggins fan. He was always someone that I love to follow. Bob Huggins, Roy Williams for sure. Shaka Smart, especially those VCU days and where he is at Texas, is someone that I've looked at. And Dana Altman over at Oregon, I like Altman a lot. And then the high school level, my situation was a little unique because I didn't really sit on a bench for 3-4 years as an assistant. I didn't really learn I didn't have a mentor, so to say. Based on what I know is coming from my years of experience of playing at the college level, what I learned at the college level, and then, just talking and networking with other coaches here around the state is kind of how I got started. So, and that's for me, like, I'm not one of those coaches it's I know what I do is right. I'm soaking everything up. I want to learn. I constantly want to grow and learn. I've been out to Vegas for those clinics. I've gone to local clinics and just chatting with other coaches and just trying to learn something new. And that's the thing is you got to adjust to your team and what you have. And so these next 2 years with this group, we're not going to have the kid inside that can go get us. We don't have that, and so we're going to have to find other ways to score the ball and find other ways to defend. And but defense, and it's a special thing to watch when you got teams playing some team defense.
So you being the head coach for so long, you've had some assistants, obviously.
Yeah.
What's the longest tenured assistant you've had?
Right now, Brian Brook, he's been with me for 4 years now. Okay. And so happened that his son played for us. He's one of our seniors. That was a first teamer in 3A this year for us, Devin Brook. So I've had both him as a coach and his son for the last 4 years. So those have been the longest tenured assistant coaches. And I have another assistant, Ryan Taylor. He's been with us now for 2 years. He's got a lot of coaching experience. He's coached at the college level. He's had his own head coaching jobs here in Arizona as a varsity coach, and so he brings a lot of experience and knowledge, which he's been great. And then I had a first-year guy that started with us this year, Jim Tasker, and he had a huge impact right from the get-go. We met last spring and chopped it up and talked about things, and I saw the passion that he had in the game like I did, and so I said, let's get this thing going. And so 3 assistants on the bench, and they were huge for us. As a coach, you can't do it alone. You got to have assistants that have your back and are here for the kids and have the same kind of passion for the game as you do. So, so longest tenure is 4 years, and then we got a couple years with the other guys too.
Well, I hope eventually these coaches, like you said, some are just okay. Like you said, you had one coach who's already coached already. He just still want to be part of the game. You're going to have assistants going to be coming up through the ranks. He's going to use your system. So I'm pretty much, you already know that you're going to have an impact with someone's lives, something like that. Like you said, you may not sit on a high school bench for too long, but you know that you're implementing something, and you're a winning coach. And I'm not trying to, this show is about highlighting coaches. I know coaches are like, I don't know, man. I need y'all to understand, like, we appreciate you guys, right? I appreciate you. Every time I talk to a coach, I appreciate their story, right? And the same thing, you want to make sure that you're highlighting the right things, right? And I like the fact that you should have said, like, you have these assistants. It's something you got a well-oiled machine. I can see why you hanging in there in that state championship. It'd be really nice to see that run. At the 4A level.
That's the ultimate goal.
How many players you got coming back?
So we had a total of 15 that sat the bench, but 3 of those kids were JV kids that would suit up for varsity games. They didn't get a whole lot. We did have a lot of blowouts in 3A, so they got some of that experience. But so we're returning 5 kids from the state championship team. So we're pretty much losing. I joke around, but it's not really a joke. We're losing probably 90% of our scoring, 90% of our experience. So that's what happens.
Defense, like you said.
Defense will keep us in games.
It will keep you guys in games, 100%. It's like I get excited when I talk to certain coaches, and you're one of them, obviously, because I love winners, right? I love people who, and it sounds like your kids love it, right? I looked at some of the video of some of the highlights of some of the players who are just so freaking excited to just be a part, to be part of that winning situation, right? There's a coach right here that's probably starting his first year, and so I want to ask you, what is some advice you give to a first-year head coach?
Yeah, I think the best thing you could do is, in your first year, you gotta build, you gotta put your vision out there, what you want out of your program, and you gotta preach that day one. You gotta have some structure with that, but at the end of the day, you gotta show your kids that you care about them.
Right.
You gotta get those kids bought into you, and the way you do that is getting to know your kids and developing those relationships and letting them know that at the end of the day, that you love them, you got their back. And I think that's important, is to really get to know your kids off the court, not just what they do on the court, but support them in any kind of way. And for me, I have a lot of open communication with the players in my program. They know they can text, they can call me with anything, not just related to basketball, but just life. That's what we're here to do, is to impact these kids off the court, to hopefully set them up for something big when the high school career is done and when they're moving on to that next chapter. So that first year, it's you really got to put your vision in. You got to have honest conversations with these kids, and then really work on strengthen those relationships with them, and letting them know that you're here for them.
Right. I mean, that's the most important thing. So I do have, you've probably already seen, I have a parent question. Right? This was actually pretty simple. This parent, her son goes to school in Phoenix. But I feel like you've already answered in a lot of different ways. So I still want to ask a question because it's part of it. Why do you coach?
Man, it's just
that simple. Why do you coach?
Man, it's hard to sum it all up, but really I coach just because I love the game. It's done so much for me in my life. It got me an education at the college level. It's developed friendships, relationships that'll last forever. It's given me an identity of who I am, and when I'm not coaching, I'm at home watching anything basketball. It's who I am, man, and it's I coach because I want to be around our youth. I want to help them, and there's so many life lessons from this game that can be passed to these kids for the real world situations that that they're going to face when we're done with college or we're done with high school. And it's at the end of the day, I coach because I love the game. I'm passionate about it, but I also love being around kids, and I love being able to help them and teach them life lessons. And I think that's really what it's about.
I believe every word you're saying, Coach. I really do. Because some people, I just want to, like, no, you're going to progress naturally because it's just, we're supposed to progress in life, but you're not going into it like, yo, I'm just using this platform so I can get the AB. So that's different. Top 5 players in the NBA right now.
Ooh, man, I'm a big LeBron guy. LeBron's my guy. LeBron for sure. In the NBA right now, that's tough because I'm all LeBron, but I have to say,
no love for no one.
No, it's not like that. Let me start here though, real quick, because I love talking about this stuff. Growing up, Sean Kemp was one of my favorite players.
Oh my God.
Sean Kemp for sure. And then I'm more of a player guy. I'm not so much team. I follow players. It was Sean Kemp. Then it went into Kenyon Martin. I don't know if you remember Kenyon Martin those days. Kenyon Martin was another favorite player of mine. Kevin Garnett, Kobe, Kobe was definitely one. And then this day and age, it's definitely LeBron. I'm a big fan of Luka Doncic out of Dallas. I like watching him play. He's fun to watch.
Stretch one. I've never even seen that before.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Damian Lillard, big fan of his because especially him, he played in the conference that I played in college, the Big Sky. He was at Weber State. So, he played at a mid-major, and it was just fun to see his story and to see where he's at now, coming from a real small college to where he is, being one of the top players in the NBA. But, yeah, LeBron, that's really simplified.
LeBron. Just top 5.
Yeah.
Kenyon Martin definitely had a good stretch.
Yeah.
Where's this? I don't know where his son is at now, but yeah, Kenyon Martin had a good stretch, and you can't forget Sean Kemp, never.
Yeah.
And obviously
KG, man.
KG is, his presence is still felt. They're talking about him on podcasts. I was just listening to a podcast today. Paul Pierce was talking about him. It's like, it's just something about him that's probably going to everlast in the game.
Yeah.
And definitely with his Hall of Fame. I'm excited for his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, God rest, Kobe, 100%. So coming from a mid-major, like you said, and seeing someone coming from a mid-major as well in the same conference as you. So I can see how you're just rooting because you know what it feels like. You scouts coming in here, maybe one or something like that. So that's definitely, exciting for you.
Yeah.
I like Lillard.
Yeah.
I like Lillard. I think Lillard Dame is something different in the fact that he's okay where he's at.
Yeah.
He wants to win, obviously, but he's not going to force the issue.
No.
Unlike the person that you like the
stop.
most.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, all right, well, you got to give me your top 3 teams ever.
Ever. Top 3 teams ever. Man, you definitely got to throw the Lake Show in there with Kobe and Shaq days, that three-peat they had. I was never a big Jordan guy. I was always rooting against Jordan, but, you got to throw the Bulls, what they're able to do. I was more one of those, I wanted to hate on the Bulls in the Jordan area.
West Coast makes sense.
That's what it was. And then another team I'd throw in there, I'm going to say the Sonics. Even though they didn't win championships with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp and Detlef Schrempf and Hawkins and all that whole crew, Perkins, man, they were fun to watch. If Jordan and the Bulls weren't playing, the Sonics would have had a couple championships.
Had something. They might be still in Seattle.
Yeah.
Because they still would have had something. I know they're talking about building something near there. So off season's here. What are some of your spring and summer, and what we got to look for the program?
Yeah, so, this time of year is huge, especially with graduating all those seniors. This spring and summer, spring is more about, we get some development work in, individual work. We do some open gyms where the kids are, at the end of the day, the kids like to get out and play. So we do a lot of that, and a lot of our kids are playing AAU, so they're busy with that, 2 nights a week practicing, and then they'll be traveling and playing in tournaments and stuff. So that's good because they're playing and getting some game experience in. And then summer is always huge. You know, June, call it June ball. We got tournaments every weekend. I run a summer league here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a summer league here that we do a couple nights a week where we get, in the past we've had a lot of those small schools, 3A, 4A schools, just come here and play. And so June's all about getting a lot of games in. We don't practice a whole lot. If you think about it, it's like you practice maybe 10 to 12 times for that whole month, and the rest of it is just playing.
Right.
And as coaches, it's not so much about wins and losses, it's about playing time. It's about experience.
And you have control where your players are at too.
Yeah, it's about getting all kids some playing time and seeing, evaluating and seeing where they're at, if they're ready to be one of the dudes, if they're ready for meaningful minutes, or are they a borderline JV varsity kid. So summer will tell you a lot about your program, and then ultimately that gets you ready for the next season to get things going. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And of course the kids are lifting. We have a class when school's in session. They're lifting during third hour basketball, so they lift during that time where they get some lifts a few days a week, and we just keep this thing moving, man. Yeah.
Coach, that's what I say about Arizona, the fact that they get to go all year long.
Yeah.
Right? Other states, get to go long, so you guys are benefiting from that. Did you mention fall ball at all? Or
No, so I know there's some coaches that do that.
Okay.
I don't. I don't want to burn out the kids.
Right.
Fall is a time, especially at a small school like this, we deal with a lot of kids that play multiple sports. So. Well, in my early years, especially my first 2-3 years here, half of my team were football players. So, we're missing half the dudes. Where now things are starting to change, where we're getting kids who are basketball only. But even with that being said, I don't want to burn them out. So fall, we just have open gyms, 2 nights a week where they play 5-on-5. Then of course we do some shooting and skill work in the mornings and things like that. But I don't do a fall league. I want to stay away from injuries and things of that nature. So fall is kind of an off period for us, and then we get things moving at the end of October, and the season's here.
Season's here.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the opportunity to sit and talk with you. I feel like we can go all day, especially if we start talking about, like you guys can check out Coach on Twitter. What's your handle, Coach?
Yeah, so Twitter, we're ALA _ basketball. And then we have an Instagram page, is ALAQC basketball. So we have Instagram, Twitter, and we're pretty active, especially on Twitter. So yeah, shout out to that. You can see that stuff there.
Coach definitely is active on Twitter. I've seen some of the stuff you post. Yeah. Congrats to your program. Congrats to all the players that's going to play to the next level, and even the players that's going to go on and get into the professional field. Because I know everybody's going to college and everyone's going to get that degree. Because obviously that's the number one thing. That's the most important thing. Until the next episode, I appreciate the opportunity. Please subscribe to City of Coaches podcast, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Rookie year, he was at home in Seattle, and he jumped from one side of the lane, and he caught it and brought it all the way back to the other side of the lane, and we were all just like, damn, did you see that?
And I throw it up there, and he throwing that ball through that net, and that's like rain coming down out of the sky.
Dribbled by